The power of kindness. The story of a poor taxi driver. In the bustling streets of a busy city where life never seemed to slow down, there was a taxi driver named Ahmed. He was a big man, not just in size, but also in spirit. His life had not been easy. Born into poverty, he had never known the luxury of a warm bed or a full stomach every day. But despite the hardships, Ahmed held on to one thing: kindness. Every day, he drove his beat-up taxi through the congested roads, picking up passengers from all walks of life. His cab was old and often broke down, but Ahmed never let it dampen his spirits. He had a smile that could light up even the darkest of days, and an infectious laugh that made people feel at ease. Though his income was small, his heart was large, and he always found ways to share his kindness. One rainy afternoon, as the clouds hung low over the city, a wealthy businesswoman, Sarah, flagged him down. She was in a hurry, desperate to make an important meeting, and had no idea how much time the rain would cost her. Ahmed, noticing her distress, quickly helped her into the taxi and drove off, trying to avoid the worst of the traffic. As the rain poured down harder, Sarah began to worry. She had been trying to get to the meeting for hours, and it seemed like she would never make it on time. In frustration, she glanced over at Ahmed. "Why are you smiling?" she asked. "This weather is awful and I'm going to be late." Ahmed chuckled softly and said, "Sometimes we can't control the rain, but we can control how we face it. I know it feels bad right now, but think of it this way. In an hour, you'll be in a warm meeting room, and you'll be grateful for the chance to sit down and relax. It could always be worse." Sarah, taken aback by his calmness, smiled despite herself. She hadn't thought of things that way. As they continued driving through the heavy rain, Ahmed shared small, encouraging stories about his life. He told her about the times he faced obstacles, how he had learned to appreciate the little things in life, like a hot cup of tea and the warmth of a smile from a stranger. They finally arrived at her destination, and to Sarah's surprise, she was actually only a few minutes late. She turned to Ahmed, about to pay him, when she noticed that his taxi was in much worse condition than she had initially thought. The worn-out seats, the chipped paint, and the faint smell of old leather, it all hit her. But his kindness was not just in the words he spoke. It was in the way he treated her, the way he saw the world with hope and positivity. "Here," Sarah said, handing him double the fare. "You've made my day so much easier, and you've reminded me to be more grateful. I want to thank you for that." Ahmed shook his head gently. "No need, ma'am. I'm just doing my job. But you'll make someone else's day better by passing on a little kindness too." Sarah, moved by his words, nodded. As she stepped out of the taxi, she promised herself that she would carry his lesson with her. Later that evening, as she sat in her office reflecting on the day, she realized how right Ahmed had been. The rain, the delays, and even the frustrations, they were just temporary. What mattered most was how she chose to respond. Over the next few weeks, Sarah took small steps to spread kindness in her own life. She helped a colleague with a difficult project, donated to a local charity, and even stopped to speak to a homeless man she passed every morning, offering him a warm meal. As for Ahmed, his life didn't change overnight. He continued to drive his taxi, working hard every day to make ends meet. But the kindness he shared that day, it rippled outward. Sarah, inspired by his example, became a silent advocate for the power of kindness, and she often shared his story with others. That little act of kindness, a smile in the face of frustration, had the power to transform not just... He was a poor taxi driver, but his spirit was wealthier than anyone could ever imagine.